Hello and welcome to the Business Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Holly Worton. I've been an entrepreneur since 1999, and I know firsthand how difficult it can be to build a business without the right mindset. This is a podcast for those of us who struggle with showing up in our business with confidence and authenticity, who resist taking big action because of fears and doubts, who know deep down that it's possible to create something bigger, and yet you're not. This podcast combines powerful strategies on how to upgrade your business mindset, along with practical business tips to grow your business more easily in a way that feels aligned. This podcast features solo shows with me and also interviews with inspiring women entrepreneurs from around the world, including my monthly co-hosted episodes with Joe Casey. My goal is to help you grow your business more quickly and easily by transforming your mindset. For me, mindset work is a lifelong practice, and I want to help you make a habit out of mindset work. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, let's get into this week's episode. Hello and welcome to the Business Mindset Podcast, episode 261. This is your host, Holly Worton, and I'm back with another solo episode. Today, I'm going to talk about changing business ideas, topics, focuses. And this is a topic that came from the Facebook group. Question says, I'd be interested in a discussion on moving on to something new and making the decision whether to continue with what you're already doing, for example, make the new business some sort of addition to the present business, or whether to really clear space for something entirely new. And I think this is a great topic because I think it's really important to be able to be flexible in our businesses and pivot when needed. Now, before I get into my thoughts on this topic, you may have noticed that I have shared in the past a book called The Pivot Map, which was written by R.M. Harrison, who was a guest on this podcast, all the way back on episode 143. So R.M. Harrison in this book has a really great process where she walks you through thinking about whether you need to pivot, how to pivot. She has worksheets, stuff you can download. It's on Kindle, and I don't know if it's also available in print, but it's called The Pivot Map. Check it out online. I think it's really useful to help you kind of in a more in-depth way than I can here in a half hour or so podcast. So I'm going to include that in the show notes in case you don't remember it or in case you're doing something and can't write it down. So, how to pivot into a new phase of your business. This is a topic that's I think fairly easy for me to talk about because I have done this with my business so many times. So I've had kind of two major phases of business, which you may know if you've listened to any of this podcast. So I had my first business, which I ran for 10 years, just over 10 years, from 1999 to about 2009. And that was a completely different business. It was a brick and mortar business. I had eco hotels and was involved in the online marketing and sales of those properties. Then I took some time off and tried to figure out what to do with my life and the skills that I had, and it took me a while to really get clear on that. Eventually I ended up moving to the UK during this extended sabbatical that I was on and training as a coach, and that was really kind of the start of my new business. And I started the blog and the website for that business I think in January of 2011. It was very early in the year. So that started out as life coaching. And my first kind of niche for that business was helping women define their life purpose. And my original URL for my website was hollyworton.com, but then I felt like I needed to have a business name, so I rebranded myself as Ready to Bloom. And again, helping women find their life purpose because that was something that I had very recently struggled with, trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do with myself and what I wanted to do and what I felt like I was here to do. I thought I was here to do coaching women on their life purpose. I was wrong, but that's where I was back in January 2011. Then from there, that was not working. Mostly now I understand for mindset reasons because I just didn't have the beliefs I needed to make my business work. But I didn't know that about the time. So then I heeded the advice of the founder of my coaching school who said, you've got these practical social media skills. Why not just build your business around social media? So I thought, okay. So I started out with a generic kind of social media coaching and consulting business. And that business was called SMC Squared, Social Media Coaching and Consulting. Anyway, that brand did not last very long. because then I kind of niched further. And I thought, I really want to get into social media for boutique hotels because that's where my specific experience lies. And I know that a lot of hotels, like small hotels and small hospitality businesses, really don't know much about the online world. So that's who I want to help. So I started Tribal Hospitality, which was helping small hotels, boutique hotels, with their social media. However, I realized I forgot another business that I had in between those two, which was helping charities and nonprofits with their social media. I totally forgot about this. That did not last long because I really did not have the mindset. Nonprofits obviously have a budget. You might be able to work with their budget, you might not. But I did not have the guts to ask nonprofits for money. So even though I wanted to help nonprofits achieve their goals by using online marketing and social media, I could not ask for the money. So there was that niche that went down the drain. So then after that, there was Tribal Hospitality. Then I kind of someone pivoted me. It wasn't really my own. It didn't come from within, it came from without, but God, it was the best pivot I could have done. Changed my business to working with authors and helping authors use social media and online marketing to connect with their readers and sell more books. And that led to Tribal Publishing. And that was a great business because I learned a lot about self-publishing. I learned a lot about traditional publishing. I learned a lot about using social media to sell your books and connect with your readers and that kind of thing, which is something that still serves me today. However, about 5 years ago, at the end of July 2013, I trained in Psych K. And as you may have heard me say before, my life is before and after Psych K. And that was where I learned how to work with my mindset to completely change my beliefs and reprogram my beliefs. And about that time, my business had pivoted again. So I was still doing some work with authors, but I decided that what I really wanted to do was work with holistic practitioners and therapists and other coaches and help them learn how to use social media to market their businesses. And so that business, Tribal Publishing, evolved into Socially Holistic. So at that time that I was training in Psych K, I was working with holistic business owners. And this happened as a result of running my first online course previous year and noticing that I had very few authors on that course. I had a lot of therapists. And this was basically as a result of how I had marketed this course because I had done a speaking engagement at a friend's group, which was made up of mostly coaches and holistic therapists. And so it kind of made sense that those were the kinds of people that were on the course. And those were the kinds of people that I knew in life anyway. So Tribal Publishing evolved into Socially Holistic. But I noticed that a lot of the problems that the women had that I worked with were not just related to not knowing how to use social media technically. It's related to fears of visibility, feeling stuck and scared and playing small and not having the confidence and the self-esteem and not valuing themselves. And with my newfound knowledge about mindset and how easy it was to change beliefs, I simply added that kind of belief work using Psych K into my Socially Holistic business. And I used to say that I helped people with social media from the inside and the out, because I help them with the practical side of social media, but also with the mindset side. And when it comes to marketing, I think a lot of us struggle a lot more with the mindset stuff than with the practical action stuff. Or we struggle with the practical action stuff, not because we don't know what to do, but because our mindset is not supporting us. So that was that. I had Socially Holistic, working with people on their social media from the inside and out. But then after a few months of doing that, I realized that what I really liked was doing the mindset stuff. I didn't enjoy the social media stuff as much because I felt like it wasn't making as big of an impact as the mindset stuff. So I let go of the social media and I rebranded again, went back to my old Ready to Bloom brand to help women entrepreneurs, particularly coaches, holistic practitioners, therapists, get the mindset they needed to build the business they wanted. And that was all fine and dandy until a couple of years ago when I decided to rebrand as just myself and my name. And this came as kind of a result of an intuitive nudge where I felt like I'd been hiding behind a business brand and a business name. And really, my business was all about me. It was all about me and how I helped people and my background and my knowledge and my skills. And why did I need a business name, Ready to Bloom or otherwise, to sell my business when it was really me? So did that a couple of years ago, rebranded, and that's what I've been using ever since. And it's funny because I've kind of come full circle in a way, because my very first coaching website was hosted at, or was living at, the domain hollyworton.com, and now I'm back to hollyworton.com. So kind of come full circle. However, I'm doing very different work and serving a very different client base because I'm working specifically with business owners. Now, yeah, I do occasionally get clients that aren't business owners, and I do get clients that are business owners, but want to work on personal stuff. So I do all kinds of mindset work. But the bulk of my work and the bulk of my focus is on women entrepreneurs, mostly coaches, therapists, holistic practitioners, wanting to get the mindset they need to take the actions they need to build their business. And that's what I write my books about. So here we are. So there's all the different phases of my business, and I actually might have left some out. Just like I had forgotten about SMC squared. God, knowing me now, if you've listened to any episodes of this podcast, like, what a weird brand for me. I don't know what was going on there with that. I think maybe it sounded kind of technical and mathy. I don't know. So, not really me. So, getting on to you. So first of all, I think the first thing that we need to talk about, now that you've heard my extended story, is how do you know when you need to pivot in your business? So I think there are a number of ways. If you go online and search, you'll find blog posts that would be like, your business growth has plateaued or not growing, or I don't know, all kinds of kind of big businessy things. But I think it all boils down to a couple of things. First, have you fallen out of love with your business? Do you not enjoy your business anymore? Do you come to Monday or whenever it is that your work week starts and you think, oh God, and you just dread to look at your calendar and you dread to look at your appointments and you dread to look at all the stuff you have to do in your business, and you hate the marketing and you hate the emails and you hate everything that you have to do, and you don't like your clients and you don't like what you do, and it's just awful. Do you hate your business? Are you feeling just dread when you think about your business week, your work week? I'd say that's a pretty good sign you need to do something about your business. And I don't know if I ever got to that phase in any of my previous business incarnations. I think it was more like a couple things. Either they weren't working or I was getting an intuitive nudge to change. So that brings me to the next two signs that you have as to whether or not you need to pivot. It's not working. Now, maybe you're not getting clients. Maybe you're struggling to get clients. Maybe it's such hard work. It's like you're pushing a boulder uphill and you're still not getting clients. Or you're not paying the bills. Or you can't survive financially. You don't have enough money to live your life. Now, it might be that your business isn't working because you're not taking the right actions. It might be because you don't have the right mindset, and that was the case for me and many of my previous business incarnations. I just didn't have the self-confidence, self-esteem to take the actions I needed to take. So that's an absolute possibility. But if your business isn't working, then it's also possible that it's not the right business for you. Maybe you're doing what you're doing because you think that's what you should be doing. So like me with my social media, that was my background. I owned eco hotels in my first business, but my background was specifically in online marketing and sales of that business. So I thought that I needed to be doing online marketing and social media. Even though I wasn't really in love with it, like I understood it and it came easy to me. And I loved researching it, but I didn't love it. I really loved the mindset stuff. And it was once I started doing the mindset stuff that I realized how great it felt to be doing something that I loved. So again, look at your business and think, if it's not working, why? Like, what's going on? And you really need to be honest about this. Like, are you not taking the actions you need to take? Or is it that you don't have the beliefs that you need to have? Or is it that you don't like your client base? What's going on? Why is it not working? And might it be that you're just not doing the thing that you love doing, that you're here to do, that you're meant to do, whatever? Next, another way that you might need to know that you need to change your business is your intuition. So when I switched from tribal publishing to socially holistic, so working with authors to working with holistic practitioners, that came to me several times during the night after listening to these guided meditations, guided journeys that my friend Cara Wilde did. And I'll put a link to her website. I think she still has these available to download. And I think the one in particular that triggered this was called spiritual sun vortex. It's all about kind of rebirth and stepping into something new. And what kept coming to me was, you've got to work with holistic practitioners. You've got to work with therapists. You've got to work with coaches. And I really resisted that because I just thought, I've shifted my business so many times. I went from the ready to bloom life purpose thing. I went to the SMC squared social media thing. I went to tribal hospitality. I went to tribal publishing. Like, I can't change again. No one's going to take me seriously. And I resisted it, and it kept coming back, and I resisted it. And finally, I just did it. And of course, it was fine. No one said to me, what are you doing, changing your business again? And that was how I knew that I needed to shift the group of people that I was working with. So, intuition. Pay attention to it. It has important stuff to tell you. And if you're the kind of person who really struggles to listen to your intuition, then I highly recommend that you check out my book, Business Intuition, which teaches you ways to connect with your intuition, to kind of dial up the volume and really pay attention to it so that you can get the wisdom that your intuition has for you. So, is your gut telling you something's wrong with your business, that you need to change it, that you need to do something differently? Pay attention to that. Write it down. Journal about it. Get it out of your head and onto something concrete like paper where you can see it and make it real. And then you can plan and see what you're going to do with it. But give it a chance. Like, if your intuition is telling you something, give it a chance. Think about it. Don't let your limiting beliefs shut it down. Again, this could be a mindset thing. Like, your intuition could be saying you need to do X, and your mindset goes, oh no, you can't possibly do that. You're not good enough. What are people going to think? You're a fraud, all that crap. So, intuition, pay attention to it. I think those are kind of the 3 signs that can let you know that you need to pivot in your business. And a lot of that, again, comes from within. Did you fall out of love with your business? That comes from within. Intuition, that's you. It's not working. Now, that could be an external thing, like you're just not taking the actions, or your client base has changed, or your client base won't pay for the things that you want to sell or offer at the price that you're offering. There's so many things that could be going on there. But if your business is not working, then it's worth looking at how you can pivot. So that's how you know if you might need to pivot. Next, how to know whether you should add the new business idea to your existing business, or whether you need to just scrap what you've got and clear space for something new. So I think that when it's a natural transition, you can add the new thing to your existing business. So if you look at my business, Socially Holistic, when I added the mindset stuff to it, it was a very natural addition because, like I said, I was no longer just helping people with the technical side of social media. I was also helping them with the mindset side. So it was very, very logical addition, and eventually ended up being a very logical transition because I had the social media, I added the mindset, and then I eventually let go of the social media and just kept going with the mindset stuff. So I didn't know this at the time, but it was actually a transition more than an addition. So I think when it's a natural addition or a natural transition, add the new thing to your current business. So if you're going to be serving the same client base, helping them with kind of similar kinds of things, go for it. Add it to your existing business. You might find that's where the money starts coming in. If it's a good addition of services, like adding the mindset stuff to help people through marketing, that made sense. It was logical. It was something that was needed. And I didn't see anyone doing both of those things, both the mindset stuff and the practical stuff, because they're 2 very different skill sets. So I think when it feels like it's something that you can coherently add to your current business, then yeah, it makes sense to add it. And again, that might be kind of the start of a transition into something new. So when should you clear space and just scrap your entire business and get ready for something new? I think that if it's a totally different idea, totally different service, totally different client base, totally different offering, and you can't logically add it to what you've already got, then it's time to start something new. And that's possibly a whole other conversation in and of itself, because what are you going to do for money? Are you going to have a transition business? Are you going to have a transition job? Are you just going to quit what you're doing? Or are you going to run the 2 businesses alongside each other? There are many, many options there, and you need to figure out what's right for you. So for example, When I switched from helping women with life purpose with my original Ready to Bloom coaching business, and I switched to the social media stuff, I just kind of scrapped that website or put it offline. I don't remember what I did with it, and started fresh with something new because that was a totally different thing. Not the same client base at all. So it made sense to get rid of the current business and start something new. So whether you decide to add something new to your existing business or clear the space for something new, completely new, you need to figure out how to communicate this change to your clients, to your community, to your friends, family, people that you know. And the easiest way to do that is through your content. So through your blog, your podcast, your videos, your emails. Talk about what's going on. So once you've got it clear in your mind and you know what's going on for you, then you can tell the story of what the change is. So you can either say, I've noticed that there's a need for this kind of mindset work. And I've noticed that when I work with women on their social media, that really a lot of them are struggling with low self-esteem, low self-confidence. And I've recently trained in something that's made major changes in my life. So now I'm adding it to my business so I can help women with social media from the inside and out. That's coherent. That makes sense. That was kind of it in a nutshell. You can elaborate on whatever your story is, but you need to tell the story of why are you changing? How are you changing? What does this mean for your current clients? What does it mean for future clients? What will you be offering? And this is true whether you start something completely new or whether you're adding something to your existing business. I think it's really important to just be open and transparent and communicate this change. Now, if you're in a specific situation where you think there's no way I can do that, I can't be open and honest about this, email me and I'll see if I can help you with that. But I kind of feel like for most cases, it's good to be open and transparent about the change that you're going to be experiencing with your business. Another question that you might have is how to deal with your current community. So how to deal with your email lists, your social media profiles, all that stuff. I kept the same email list throughout all of this. So from my social media days all the way through into my mindset days, I kept the same list and I informed them about what I was doing. And I said, look, my business is changing in this way. I'm going to be talking about these things from now on. If you would like to keep on hearing from me, stay on the list. If not, here's your little button. Click on that and unsubscribe. Now, I was actually really shocked at how many people stayed with me through all of these different business incarnations. A lot of people that were from my old tribal publishing days stayed on. And again, I was really clear about what I was doing and how I was changing. However, you know that not everyone reads every single email that you write. So there were, a few people that wrote me kind of angry emails saying, I don't know who you are and how I got on this list, but please remove me. And I would usually kind of write back and explain to them, blah, 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 blah. This is what happened. I have clicked the unsubscribe button for you. There's always people who are going to be annoyed at some kind of change, especially if they didn't open any of those emails where you talked about your transition, but forget about them. They're angry and they will be angry about anything you do. I do think that if people like you, they will stay on your list. If, obviously, the new thing that you're doing is something that's also of interest to them. So I think rather than scrapping your email list and going for something new, keep the existing one and just inform people about how you're changing. So that is my recommendation. I would say inform them of the changes, encourage them to unsubscribe if they're not interested in your new business. And that's it. With your social media profiles, you can either start new ones or change the name on your existing ones. And I'm a big fan of using your own name, mainly because, as you can see, my business has gone through so many different brands over the years. And I wish I just kept my name throughout all of that. On my Twitter account, I always used my name. Facebook, I had to change Facebook pages. So when I switched from social media to the mindset stuff, I did create a new Facebook page for that. And then when I did the rebrand from Ready to Bloom to Holly Worton, I did that by changing the name on the Facebook page from Ready to Bloom to Ready to Bloom with Holly Worton. And then a few weeks later, I changed it from Ready to Bloom with Holly Worton to just Holly Worton. because I think that helped show Facebook that it was a natural transition. I think it would have been too much if I tried to just go from Ready to Bloom to Holly Worton, because they need it to be a logical change. So they want to make sure that you're not completely changing the game on the people who liked your page for its original thing. But every social network is different. So if you can, and if it's relevant and makes sense for your business, use your name. A lot of times I will be following people on social media and it's a business name and I think, who the heck is this person? And then I kind of click on and dig in and I'm reminded of who it is, but it's so much easier for me to remember someone's name and what they do rather than a business name. I just feel like it's so much more personal. So if it's relevant, I'm a big fan for using your name, but do whatever is right for you. So I hope this has been helpful. If you're thinking about pivoting into a new phase of your business, adding something to your existing business, clearing space for something new, or changing your business in some way, hope you have found this useful. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. You can email me at holly@hollyworton.com, or you can pop into the Facebook group, Business Mindset Alchemists. If you head over to hollyworton.com/group, that will redirect to the Facebook group and you can ask me your question in there. And that is everything for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a quick review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. And that's it for today. So remember to tune in again for next week. And remember to visit hollyworton.com/261 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening to the Business Mindset Podcast. You can find more information about today's episode, including links for the topics that were discussed, at hollyworton.com. If you'd like to connect with other listeners and learn more about business mindset, join my private community for entrepreneurs at hollyworton.com/group. That will redirect you to the Facebook group. And if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to head over to iTunes and leave a quick review of this podcast. It just takes a minute. Thank you so much.